I just want to thank everyone for coming down here today. Obviously, there's been some frustration as to why I have not been here as yet. There's been a process which I've had to go through to get to this stage. There certainly is some confidentiality things in and around the conciliation process and the investigation. So hopefully you can respect that today. And before I answer your questions, I'd just like to say a huge sorry to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people for the pain and hurt I've caused. But I also want to say thank you for the open and honest feedback from Robbie Young and the Indigenous boys at the Adelaide Football Club.
Can you talk us through that process, Tex? You talk about the time it's taken you to address the media. Talk us through that journey.
Yeah, it's been tough for everyone involved. I'm just so remorseful for the things that I said, and we've had some really open and honest conversations, and they've expressed the pain and hurt it's caused, which that hurts.
So for someone who's had as much cultural awareness and training as AFL footballers have through their career, someone who's spoken out against racism in sport, he's playing alongside guys like Eddie Benson, see what they've had to endure. How can this have happened? How can this happen?
Yeah, look, that's the thing that hurts me the most, how I've got great relationships with some Indigenous people, and I've apologised, and for me now, I want to be judged on what I do from here on in.
What sort of impact has this had on you personally in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's certainly the toughest thing that I've been through, but it's not about me, it's about the people that I've hurt and caused so much pain to. So, yeah, I've done things that I need to sort out my things and my family, but it's the pain and hurt I've caused for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people.
Do you want to play on next year, and if so, do you feel you have a supportive club and teammates in the
Look, to me at the moment, playing is not my priority. Repairing relationships with the people that I've hurt is my main priority. The four Indigenous boys, they were really open and honest with me, and I'm thankful for that, because that's going to help me going forward and understand the pain and hurt I've caused to them and their communities. And that's what I wanted for them. I wanted them to be open and honest, and they were.
If they said stay around, play around, we still want you next year? Or?
Like I said, they were just as open and honest as they could be. And it's now up to me to repair that relationship and reconcile and get some more education for myself, because clearly I'm not at the level.
Have they indicated that they will forgive you, Tex, or that they're willing to move forward?
I apologise and they accepted it.
Sure. You talk about education. There will be those who will ask how much more can a former captain of an AFL club need. How do you answer that?
Yeah, look, the conversations that I've had with some people that I trust in that area, they've recommended that I go and spend time on the country and the communities, and that's one thing I'm going to do, along with educating myself to get a more understanding of the pain and hurt I've caused.
Taylor, have you spoken to the trainer who reported you, and how did you feel about that incident?
Yeah, look, a lot of people are probably asking why it's gone down this path. When an incident like this is reported, it goes straight to the AFL, so that's why that occurred, and obviously I can't speak too much about the conciliation process.
Do you feel that was the path it should take, or would you prefer to go a different?
That's the path it took, mate, and I'm fully respectful for that.
When was the last time before that incident that you used that type of language?
Oh, look, like I said, mate, I'm deeply remorseful for what I said, and hopefully everyone here today and the people in the world understand the kind of person I am. I'm ashamed of what I said, and I've got some work to do, so please judge me on what I do from here on in.
How can the footy public trust what you say going forward, given that you have denounced racism in the past and then gone on to make a racist remark? How can the footy public trust it, what you're saying right now?
it's up to me to get to work and go and do the things I've spoken about just before.
Do you feel like you've been supported by the club?
Look, I've had some great support from the football club.
Did you feel like, was there ever a situation where you felt like retiring, when you felt like hanging out?
Like I said, mate, I'm not here to talk about myself and my future. It's about what I do from here on in as a person. I've got some work to do, and I'll put my hand up and I own this, and I'm going to go to work and do the best I can.
When do you think you make that call, Tex? When do you think you'll make a call on whether you'd like to play on?
It's down the road. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge.
Do you think the playing group more broadly will accept you back in?
Yeah, I've spoken to a few players, and they've said that if the time comes to that, we'll get to that as it comes.
Coach Matthew Dixon was reduced to tears a couple of weeks ago, standing where you are right now. How did that make you feel at the time?
Yeah, mate, that hurt.
And similarly, Eddie, I'm sure you would have seen that 360 interview. How did you feel watching that, and have you reached out?
No, I've spoken to Eddie, and we had a great conversation. And like I said, I've caused so much hurt towards people like that, and I just can't say how sorry I am.
What's your relationship like with Eddie at the moment?
I've got some work to do. Yeah, I've hurt him and his family and community, like I have for all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So I've got some work to do, and I'm going to go to work. 9
days after you said the comment, you fronted a presser. Were you aware of the investigation ongoing at that point?
What do you mean by that?
You fronted a presser on 9 days after you actually made the comment. Were you aware that there was an investigation going on in the background?
Yeah, like I said, mate, the investigation and conciliation has been confidential, so yes, I was aware.
Do you think you should have fronted that press conference then, if that was all ongoing in the background?
No, there's confidentiality around that, and I respect that. It wasn't about me, it was about other parties involved.
When you talk about confidentiality, just to clarify, does that mean all parties involved have signed confidentiality agreements?
Yes, they have.
How did the video with Robbie come about, Tex?
Yeah, he expressed his wish to sort of educate me in going forward, and that's pretty much how that came about.
Sure, and are you in constant dialogue with him?
I've been in dialogue with Robbie, yeah.
When was your last conversation with him?
Oh, that's for me. That's between me and Robbie.
Will you attend the BNF on Saturday night?
I've expressed that I'd like to go to the BNF on Saturday night, so that's for the club to decide.
Is it true that you initially denied the comment?
Look, when I first was pushed on this, I was in denial. I panicked and I was scared, and I thought about myself, and I let time go, and I said to myself, this is not about me. It's about Robbie and the Adelaide official, the pain that I've caused to them, and that's when I said I'm coming forward to own this, and I want to get better for it.
The decision to make a video apology rather than do what you're doing now in the first instance, that might have been a risk calculation.
At the time, it was the best decision for what we needed to do.
Just on that video, some people felt that when you said to Robbie, I'm going to lean on you, that it was an inappropriate thing to say, because obviously he's the victim of this situation. Do you find that inappropriate to say, and how does Robbie Young feel about it?
What I meant by that was I need education, and that's as probably used the words, but what I meant by that is I need some education, and he expressed that he's willing to help in that area.
To be frank though, how much education would you need, or does it take to not use language like that?
Like I said, I don't want to go back on what's happened, but what I want to do is get myself into a position that I can just keep educating myself to not allow something like this to occur again.
Was it the first time you'd said something like that?
What's that, sorry?
Was it the first time you'd said something like that?
Yeah, look, like I said, I'm just ashamed that what I said has just caused so much pain, mate.
Taylor, did you know straight away you'd said something wrong, or was it only after it was reported that you realised the impact?
And it's a courageous thing to do from the Adelaide official. I knew at the time that I made the wrong choice of words.
on your playing future, you've had such a decorated career here. Is it important to you that this isn't how you remembered?
I hope so, mate. Yeah, I hope that I'm not remembered for one remark, and the people that know me will understand the person that I am.
What was the reaction of your family when they found out you knew?
Yeah. That's been the hardest thing, is how I've let my family down.
How do they feel about that? What do you think about that?
Just the impact that it's had on them, and yeah, I've got some work to do with my family as well.
You talked before about going out to country. Have you got any idea when that will actually take place?
Mate, it's just going to take some time.
Here is one of them.
Kane, mate, I've heard you're on the coast there fighting the fires. I'm part of the troop as well. I've heard feedback from some of the boys that you're not pulling weight. Your week has water, mate, and they need more water.
I feel like we shouldn't be laughing at the firefighter situation. Clearly they're taking the mickey out of that a little bit. You can hear someone in the background who we had to beep it out there because he used a pretty strong word in the background. So what's the one thing, Hazy? You're a bit of a ratbag. You're a bit of a scallywag from way back. I can tell you've done some things with your siblings and your friends back in the day. If you're going to make a prank call, what's the number one rule?
Well, number one rule when you're calling your exes, you've always got to put, I'm just kidding, I used to do that. But back in the day when, yes, potentially you make a few prank calls, the number one thing, you go into the settings of your Nokia 5110 and you flick it over to private number, and then to follow it up when you're with your mate, you test it. You call him, you go, just let me know, is that coming up private number?
That is what you do.
All right, sweet. Now I'm going to call the coach and give him a spray.
That is what you do. Well, these clowns from Broken Hill, I can say pretty confidently that they're from Broken Hill, did not do that. And they left their mobile number in full display. Now, most people would let it go, have a bit of a laugh about that voicemail and let it go. Not me, though. So the first thing I did is I returned the call from a private number this time, put my phone on private, and rang this bloke back. Now,
did you get an answer?
I didn't get an answer, but what I did get was his voicemail.
With all his details.
So, remember, at this time, I've got no idea who these people are. I've got no idea who. It could have been anyone that could have. There's a lot of people that dislike me, could have left the voicemail. I've got no idea who they are. Anyway, it goes through to his voicemail. It says, "G'day," something like the lines of, "G'day, it's Matt Garrick here. Please leave your name and your number." I thought, oh, there's one clue. There was another missed call that I had from another bloke by the name of Blake. And it also went through to his voicemail. It said, "G'day, you've called Blake. Leave a message." So I've got two names now. I've got Matt Garrick, I've got Blake. So what do? I put in Matt Garrick on Instagram. And his Instagram profile comes up. I look at his Instagram story and I see that on New Year's Eve, Matt Garrick is hanging out with Taylor Walker and a bloke called Blake. And I'm starting to put the dots together, Hazy.
What are you insinuating?
I'm putting the dots together that Matt Garrick is, in fact, on further evidence, a very, very good mate of Taylor Walker. And by chance, the voice that you hear in the background, which we've had to beep out, is, in fact, the former skipper of the Adelaide Football Club, Taylor Walker.